doing this thing. So check this out, Joe. Just a disclaimer. This is recording. It really is truly recording. I don't even know what time it's gonna be. It is in, but I just got back from traveling, suffering from a little jet lag. So this is a cool episode of the K Young Brush T-shirt show. I got to keep it a little quiet. I think this is it's a special edition. So I was just sitting here analyzing last year's 2023 World Championship Budapest race with Karsten and McMaster and Rye. And I was trying to put together a good race for, some younger hurdlers, or any hurdler that's out there in this one particular hurdle I'm working with now. I decided that I wanted to, I'm looking at this paper, trying to, going in my head, but forgive me. But in any case, I was just crunching numbers, right? Because my philosophy is basically to look at the hurdles from a perspective that it's easier for the coach and even the hurdler to comprehend I would like to say the critical zones of the hurdles as they kind of go across the field of 400 meters. So, and one of the big sticklers for me is like, we know how, I see hurdlers are agitated early in the race and they want to just get out, fly out of there, out of the blocks because of anxiety, and butterflies coming out early. But I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, damn, let's look at it like it is, break it really down to something very simple. But look at it as the two zones, as the first 7 hurdles out of the blocks, and then the last 150, 255 meters for the first 7 hurdles, and 145 meters to to the finish. So basically, I just look at it like that. So you're running a 150. How fast can you run a 150? So you work on the athlete's 150, break it down, and as you run the sprint, just throw the barriers up there and work out the step pattern between each hurdle through that distance. Very simple, very simple. And then you can even go back and forth and put the hurdles on the track, take hurdles off the track, and you can just relate the touchdown times with the hurdles and without the hurdles. Every section, but I would say if you do it between the blocks in the first 5, or even the blocks in the first 3, you can easily work that out because you got to realize that your hurdler is going to develop a different sort of pattern. So you really want to make that pretty repetitive because you want them to be able to make the adjustment. And I was looking at some of the marks, from my man Sylvain in France. And I was just comparing to what he had sent me, and I was looking at some of the races in which they were having. And I was like, wow. And so I'm looking at an optimal race, say a 48-second race. These are actual steps of an individual who ran for practically 48 seconds flat in the World Championships. From hurdles 2 through 5, he went 13 steps, so he's all even. Hurdles 6 through 9, he went 14 steps, so he's alternating between 6 through 9. So he alternates at 6, 7, 8, 9. So he alternated 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4 hurdles, he's alternating 1, 2, 3, 4, back and forth, right? And then the last hurdle, he goes 15 steps to the last hurdle and runs off. Runs 48 flat with all that motion going back and forth. I think a lot of lost energy, so he's on the verge of going under 48 seconds in that particular race. And so when I look at it, I said, okay, he ran that fast, and look at the step pattern. Like I said before, hurdles 2 to 5, 13 steps, hurdles 6 through 9, 14 steps, and then he made, I would say a mistake to go 15 steps to the 10th hurdle, but he made it, right? But 48 second step. So you break that down, and then even in that same race, you look at where he touched down at 255 meters, 29 seconds flat for the first 255 meters and 19 seconds for the last 145 meters. That comes up to 48 seconds flat. So 19 seconds for 145 meters. That's basically a 150. Right? I mean, that's pretty much what that is. That's a 150. That's running on top of the curve, running to the finish line. And you just take those numbers, comparable. And that was a 40-second race. And then I took that same sort of calculation from that particular race, and I compared it to a particular race that was 47.37 seconds, and it was McMaster's race for World Championships. I'm going to Carson's race, and possibly in Rye's race as well. But McMaster was second, right? He ran out of the blocks, 13 steps out of the blocks of the first 7 hurdles. It was a wonderful race, textbook. And then for the first 7 hurdles out of the blocks, he goes 13 steps, 255 meters. He runs 28:44 seconds to the 7th hurdle out of the blocks, consistent 13 all the way through. He runs the last 7 through the 10 hurdles, right? You know, and then in addition to his 40-meter blast off from the last hurdle to the finish line, you know, so you go from the 7th hurdle into the finish line, he ran a sub-9, he ran 18.9 seconds, 18.9 seconds with a time of 47:34. It's masterful for McMaster. That's amazing. Like, go back and look at it. But you saw it was a foot race for him and Rye at the end, and he just ran hard, right? You can't count Rye out for nothing. Rye's the dude. He's that guy, you know. I'm gonna go into another session, but if you want to even just put as Carson's race, same, you know, in the same race, Carson won the race. He ran, and Carson in the race was 46:89. Crazy. Carson's first 250 is 28:3. McMaster's first 250 is 28:4. You hear that? McMaster ran 28:44 for 255 meters from the blocks, 13 steps all the way through. Carson, the first 7 hurdles, right? He runs 28:30. McMaster runs 28:44. So Carson's last 145 meters to the finish line is 18:59. 18:59 compared to McMaster's 18:9. So Carson is moving, right? And that, you know, so Carson runs 46:89. Same, you know, it's the numbers themselves, they haven't really changed much. McMaster's 28:44, 18:9. Carson's 28:3 and 18:59. Carson is definitely moving, right? And like I said, and Rye was third in that race. Rye was third in that race. And Rye runs his first 7 hurdles 28:33. And he runs his last 145, his 150, 19:24. So there, and he runs a 47:57. I mean, take the Carson's numbers. Isn't that crazy? Carson runs to 46:8. Rye runs to 47:5. Carson's 28:3. Rye's 28:3. Rye's 18:59. Rye's 19:2. That differential, the 18:59 and the 19:2, you know, plus or minus the 0.03 from the first 7 to the first 7 hurdles. That's cool. You can just kind of drop that off. But wow, that damn close. It's amazing. It's blowing my mind when you look at the numbers. But that's what it is. And I took RC, the young Ryan Clark, the young Jamaican kid. His numbers were the very first numbers that I talked about with the 48 flat race. 13, 14 to 15, you know, last one. Man, amazing. It doesn't get any better, y'all. And I'm out.